Alright, it has been over a year since our last RV video. So we thought we'd do a couple of things in this video. We'll give an introduction for some of you who we've picked up recently, kind of let you know why we're in an RV, how we got started RVing, and then we can give you an update on the last 12 months, which has been totally crazy, and you'll probably understand why we haven't been filming once we get into that. And then if you stick around to the very end of the video, we'll talk about the future and what our plans are, and maybe a new RV in our future.
Ooh, surprises in store.
Okay, so if you're new to the channel, you may not know that we bought this RV back in August of 2020. It was brand new. It's a 2020 model. We bought it, we were living in Washington, D.C. at the time, and of course, like everyone else, we were cooped up because of the pandemic, couldn't travel, and we had also moved into an apartment in the city earlier, just like as the pandemic was shutting everything down. So we barely left our apartment. I got out a couple times a day to walk the dog, and that was it. And so after several months of that, we started looking into ways to leave our apartment safely. And my parents have had an RV for, I think, maybe 10 years. So we weren't new to RVing, but we had never owned one ourselves. And we kind of did some research, did a lot of YouTubing, watched a lot of walkthrough videos, and we found a layout that we really liked that we thought would work for us. A drivable was our only option at the time. Living in the city, we only had one car. We didn't want to pay to park another vehicle. So a towable just wasn't practical for us at the time. So we had settled on a drivable. We really liked the idea of a Class A because we also knew we'd be moving, but we didn't know when or where. Thanks to the military, it's always up in the air. And we thought maybe we'd want to live in it for a little while. So we were looking for something that was large enough for two people to live. I work from home full time, so I needed a workstation. We needed a washer and dryer because I wasn't going to deal with the laundromat situation. And we had, two cats and a dog, so it needed to be big enough for all of us. And this Winnebago model, the Adventure 33C, seemed to check all the boxes. So our adventure started, it was middle of August of 2020. Yeah, and we just used it to escape the city. We'd go park it really not that far from our apartment, about an hour away at a little, it was a state park. And we'd go down there for the weekend. We'd go for a whole week, and Josh would commute to work from there. I'd work from the RV. And we just got a taste for living in an RV, what we want, changes we wanted to make, that sort of thing. We did that for basically the whole season, like August through really January of 2021.
Right.
And then in December of 2020, we found out we would be moving to Charleston, South Carolina, and we went down for Christmas that year to Charleston and were able to sign a contract to build a home. And then we moved to Charleston in March of 2020, and our home wasn't done yet. They had literally just broken ground in February.
Right.
So we lived in this RV for 4.5 months. Yeah, we had to move a couple of times. There's not a great long-term campground that's really commutable to the airport for Josh. So yeah, we moved I think 3 different times. And the last video we posted while we were in the RV, I think was our Isle of Palms beach day, and that was our second of 3 RV parks that we stayed at.
I really enjoyed being in the RV when we first moved to Charleston, because since we weren't able to stay in the same place for more than 30-ish days, we really get to know the area well. because we started at the Navy Weapons Station, which is northeast Charleston, and then after 30 days there, we moved somewhere else and got to know that area, and then we moved somewhere else and got to know that area, and it was a really good way to like learn our way around, and it also like concreted. Yes, we did buy a house in the right location, and we really love the neighborhood. And at the finishing stages of the house, we were able to be in the RV park less than 5 minutes away. So we were able to like go check on the house every day and be really involved with like the finishing processes. So I really enjoyed that. It helped us like kind of fit in with the community and learn where things are and learn what our favorite spots are, what our favorite beaches are, and all that good stuff. So it was a really positive thing, I guess.
Yeah, there just isn't a really like easy way to full time in Charleston. But that being said, we could definitely do this. Like I could see doing this long term, maybe after you retire.
Yeah.
Tiny living, nomadic life, I think is at least right now the way I want to go.
But I would say I'd still rather be sailing. I said it.
Yes. Nomadic life on a boat. And in July, we finally got into our new house. And then later in the fall, once we kind of had our furniture and everything set up, we posted a home walkthrough. So if you're interested to see our new house, it's all there. Yeah, so that kind of gets us the backstory, the intro, why we're here. Okay, so where have we been for the last 12 months? Why have we not been posting to YouTube?
Ooh, good question.
Not to throw you under the bus, but I think that the biggest thing that's been going on behind the scenes that we didn't really talk about, and I don't talk about it a ton on social media either, is that last year, so during the time that we were moving from one state to another, uprooting our entire life, packing up our whole house, building a new house, getting to know a new area, was also the busiest 6 months of my professional life that I have ever had. It was the most stressful, most insane time at work for me. We were still adjusting to working from home, kind of getting used to the new normal. And also I was doing between 2.5 and 4 jobs because of some turnover at my organization. And on the weekends, because I'd had such a crazy intense week, I just couldn't do anything. Like some weeks I sat on the couch and didn't move. If we did go somewhere, it was kind of a work hard, play hard. The last thing I wanted to do was pick up a camera and do any editing. And so I told Josh, I was like, you have to take over. You're filming, you're editing, you're posting. But he was also getting used to a whole new job and a whole new set of coworkers. And
not only when I was relocated down to Charleston, I was not only I'm an aircraft technician, so not only was I changing a complete new job environment, but I'm also like transitioning to a different aircraft. So I had to go to technical school and completely relearn a new aircraft. And I was in this like weird holding pattern where I was like waiting for a job to open up for me to move into. So it's been rough. And now that we have like successfully transferred over, Rachel and I are still working 40, 50 hours a week on top of doing this. So
yes, we have full-time jobs.
we have gone on a couple of trips, and there was a couple of vacations that we went on that we like fully intended to record, and just that's the kind of thing that you can't force. So if your group isn't on board with it, or if you there was a couple of times where we took some like a lot of really good B-roll, and like the storyline just never came to light. So
yeah, and after being away, so we were in DC for a long time, but our families are down here in the South, Alabama, Tennessee, and it seems like when we move back closer, there's a lot of just kind of making up for lost time, and so we didn't we didn't want to stick cameras in our family's faces, our friends' faces. Yeah. We didn't do a whole lot of just us travel last year. So it's a little harder to film that kind of stuff. You know, you're trying to catch up with family you haven't seen in a while, and the last thing you really want to do is pull out a camera. So that's part of it. The other part is, like I said, the seasonal site. So from August to December, the RV is in Auburn, and you know, we could have filmed a little of that. Maybe this year we'll show you what that looks like. But it didn't feel natural to us, and I think that comes across on camera if you're trying to force it. So it was just better for us to put the camera down and enjoy some time with our family, and kind of get used to settling in Charleston and our new life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of why we haven't been filming, but we do have plans to pick the camera back up now.
Yes, we have some exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good segue into what's next.
What is next?
What's next? If you are our friends or family, or you follow us on Instagram, you already know, spoiler alert. But in February? I think it was in February, we placed an order for a brand new Airstream.
Yes!
So we are massively downsizing. I mentioned earlier that we don't live in here full-time anymore, and we don't have plans to live in here full-time anytime soon. We have a nice, lovely house, and just kind of our reason for RVing has changed. We're not so much doing the long trips where Josh maybe commutes to work from the RV. We're really just doing quick weekend trips, 2 nights, and then back home. And yeah, we really don't need a 34-foot RV anymore. We don't need a washer and dryer.
I will miss the washer and dryer.
We use it every single time we take it out. We don't need a washer and dryer. We don't need, a refrigerator that holds a month's worth of food. And we also, because we moved to Charleston and we had to purchase a second vehicle, we bought a vehicle that can tow. So we have a new Jeep Grand Cherokee that has a pretty good towing capacity. We bought that with hopes that we'd have a boat or something, maybe go to a towable RV. So we have enough towing capacity for a 20-foot, actually probably a 23, but we bought a 20-foot Caravelle 20 FB, which I think is just going to be a much more appropriate RV for the way we're planning to travel over the next couple of years. But yeah, so that's what's next. We don't know when we're going to get it.
Who knows?
So when we signed the purchase order, they told us it'd probably be about 12 months. So we're hoping to have it for next season. So next spring, I mean. So we kind of have our fingers crossed that it'll be before February. But to be honest, once we take this to Auburn for football season, we're not going to try to trade in the middle of football season. So we're just, once this goes to Alabama, it's probably not coming back. We'll probably try to sell it at the end of football season. We'll put a for sale sign up at the RV park and probably just try to do a private sale of this instead of trading it. But yeah, I hope we'll have the Airstream maybe by Christmas. That would be a great Christmas present.
Yeah, but Airstream just recently reduced their production by, like 20%, right?
I think so, yeah. Because
they said that they wanted to make sure that their standard was not
going down
because of the quick turnarounds. So that was a really nice surprise, I guess, if you want to say. So I'm willing to wait the extra time for a high quality product, which is why we went with Airstream to begin with. And the fact that there's so many still on the road is a big selling point for us. So
yeah, and we'll have plenty more videos about the Airstream.
Yes.
I know this one's getting kind of long, so I think we'll leave it there. But I hope if you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you're new here, drop us a comment and let us know how you found us and what kind of content you're looking for. See you later.